Great effort by St. Peter's. I think. I mean, they're doing a tremendous job. They really are. The way that group can switch defenses and understand personnel and understand that game plan. I thought it was a high level bout by them. On our end, I think we're just really we're struggling to find that consistency, and in these type of games, that's what you need. And I would say the consistency more in the physicality of the game, and that's something we're struggling with. We addressed it. We're going to keep addressing it. We're going to keep going through it. And I think it's really big for our guys to understand how competitive this conference is, how dialed in these teams are, and how they want to how they know what they need to do over and over and over again to really step this thing up. So again, I think obviously a tough showing for us in that second half. I loved our first half. I think that first 5 minutes, 6 minutes of that second half really changed the game, changed the atmosphere, and we have to deal with that. We got to live with that.
We've talked already this year about the second halves and how you guys have kind of gotten worn down in a bunch of those games. We're now into mid to late January.
Yeah.
Where do you see the improvement coming from in the second halves of these games?
Yeah, I think tonight it was we didn't turn the ball over, and they didn't do a tremendous job on the offensive glass. 10 offensive rebounds and only 9 second chance points. Like tonight, it was something different. It came back to the 2-point field goal percentage. I just felt we were so sped up in the paint. You feel like they're swarming. Even in that first half, Lamine gets a couple shots blocked, Ali gets a shot blocked. Like, we need those conversions. We need those conversions because it was the right play. It was the right play, and we're down there. We got to make sure we increase our patience there, but that hasn't shown up in a little while. It's been more the turnovers and the offensive rebounds. So I think it's kind of just continuing to really process it. I know it's difficult when you lose like this. Trust me, I know. But it shifted tonight. I thought we did a great job. They turned teams over an insane amount in league, and we did a great job handling all the different defenses and getting looks that I think we were okay with. And then the second half kind of lose it a little bit consistency-wise, and our guys got to understand what we're after, and then that leads to our defensive transition being looser and not being able to be as physical as we like to be and dictate the basketball. And that's that snowball effect that we've kind of talked about a lot. And tonight it came back to the 2-point percentage, and that was a little different.
Dan, you talk about the physicality of this league. Is that what has impressed you the most so far? I
think so. Well, and just the talent, the talent level, the way guys can get to the paint and make decisions. I think we're really learning as a team. We're learning what that is and what that feels like. I thought our guy Aliou Fall, like coming off of being sick and then coming back, it's a tough game to come back on at St. Peter's, and with the fortitude they play with, you got to really bring it, and it was good. It's good for him to understand that and see this, and none of our guys, Jungers, was the only one that really played in this league before, so he can only speak so much. We got to see the actionable items, and that's what's happened. I think we're feeling that physicality, which is great for us, and I think at times we're successful. How do you sustain that success?
It looked like it was a 1-2-2 matchup zone, maybe. Is that
at times? I mean, it's a lot of different stuff. He goes to that 2-1-2 a little bit. They get in man at some points. It's great. I love it. I think it's a great way to really disrupt the rhythm. You press sometimes with man, you press sometimes with zone, you trap across half court sometimes. It's great. We had to prepare for all that. Luckily we had. That's why I think we also did a good job prepping. I mean, we only had 9 turnovers. I don't love the assist numbers, but I think our potential assists were pretty good. So the ball was moving, the ball was popping. I think that's what we're after. Being disciplined in our spacing, and then being aggressive in our decision making. And I like that. I just didn't like our physicality as it wore the game on and wore us down. It felt like. Was
that the difference? Points in the paint, how they really took control.
Yeah.
Both ends.
Yeah. And I think at that point, some of their offensive rebounds went to a couple fouls, obviously in that first half. But overall, I think just us going 9 for 24 is going to be tough sledding for us, And then we finally do get fouled, and the free throw margin, the same thing happened against Ryder. with the free throw discrepancy, us missing free throws. Sorry, not the discrepancy. We were fouling and stuff like that. But I think that's the part to me that we got to really, really hone in on, really be mindful of, and try to get ourselves present so we can make this thing last and make this sustainability happen.
You mentioned Lamine getting his shot blocked a couple times. Felt like whenever you guys were trying to get into the paint, they had a bunch of bodies that were already there that were going to be able to block a shot or step in front of it. First, what does that say about kind of their defensive unit and how their front court is on that end? And second, for you guys, did you think that you should have been a little bit more aggressive in going through that?
Yeah, I think a lot of it was like behind the play. So we were ahead of the play, making the right read. It's almost like guys coming like pin your shot or really contest up there at the rim. I think one was kind of in an ISO situation, which was a great play by Williamson. For me, it's like you just gotta. I mean, it's difficult. I mean, Lamine wasn't catching the ball in the pocket a ton and having to go up for layups and dunks last year or any time in his career. So I think for me, it's really him understanding it, seeing it. He can't have eyes in the back of his head, but as you continue to go through it, even me as a player, when that happened to me, you got to start to understand how to use that rim as a protector, how to do some different things. And I think we're going to keep giving it to him in that pocket. He's going to keep experiencing it. And we got to make sure he's changing that and not assuming it's like wide open. A couple times he gets those wide open dunks. Because the way we play and the way our half court pace looks, it's not every time though. And when that happens to him, for him 4 for 9 from the field, I just always feel like he should be over 50%. And that's the foundation he's built for himself. And then defensively, yeah, I mean, they swarm. That's the whole deal. I think they swarmed more for block shots 5 block shots obviously, but the whole thing of like it felt like our twos were heavily contested pretty consistently because they were just swarming as that basketball got there.
It seemed like you spoke about like the defensive intensity and all the different matchups and principles that they have, kind of just trying to present a challenging effect for you guys offensively. Kind of seemed like they were kind of able to cut off some of CJ's drives to just make it difficult for him to probe into the paint as it typically does.
Yeah.
Could you speak to what how the effect that you feel like that had on you guys offensively? I know you said it's kind of spoke to some potential assists that you thought you left on the table there, but do you kind of think that they were able to challenge him, especially off the dribble, with regards to that?
Yeah, they challenge every guard that they play. Every guard in this league gets challenged when you play Peters, especially at Peters. And that's something that I really think they do a great job of really reading that basketball, cutting that basketball off, showing help, showing bodies. In the first half, I love where we were at. We felt we took like 2 sped up shots that were like heavily contested that we wish we had back, and that way instead of 3, maybe it's 5 or 7 our way. And in the second half, I just feel like in the beginning, we really, CJ takes the 2, Toby takes the reload 3 in the corner, and then we have a turnover then. That's their 7-0 run because we're loose on the ball. Then they score 2, we miss, they score 2, and then it comes back and we score, and, I think the whole building was like, oh, wow, I can't believe they scored. And you look up, it's a 4-point game, but that's what St. Peter's does to you. That's what I think that whole change in defenses, ball pressure. I mean, they do a great job. They don't foul on the ball. They do a great job showing their hands. I love it. And that's where we had to, withstand it and then overcome it. And I just think we withstood it. We never overcame it. That's where I think CJ, Denver, Cozy to an extent, like you really want to, as a handler, and Lamine as a handler too, you really want to overcome it, and you try and start to hit home runs when it's getting to that 7-9 point margin. You got to continue to be consistent in what you're doing.
I mean, we've talked about the snowball and trying to hit singles over the course of the season. Why do you guys think you're not there right now and being able to
Yeah, I think it's just every game very different in the MAC. I really do.
Is that something that you've kind of struggled with versus the NBA level? Because
definitely,
a lot of teams are more homogenous.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's something that we're all struggling with it. Every game different, every pace different. Tonight it crept up, I think, to 68. We were trying to keep it below 65, and that's something we got to continue to go through and control, because I think that's with all 13 new guys, and Jungers is playing a whole different style than he did last year. So with 13 new guys and an NBA assistant coach coming here, we got to feel, we really got to, we game plan. I love our prep. I thought our game day stuff has been great. Our game day -2s, game day -1s were great. I loved our preparation. It's just in the 40 minutes, we got to continue to find that execution and find it at a higher level.